I'm getting sleepy.
I do believe, well, with this being his first, that the burden of this trial has been a bit too much to bear for Prosecutor Gavin. I'm afraid that while there is a doubt to the amount of IV liquid in that bag, the time of death cannot be proven. And that brings our final trial to a close for the day. What?
Well, maybe I can squeeze an extra day out of this. I can do a little much needed investigation work.
I see there are no objections. Court is adjourned.
Oh man, Clavier, why couldn't you just end the day? I'm sleepy.
Truly, there's no substitute for experience. Nothing blinds one to the truth so effectively. A word to the wise. Underestimate the young, and they'll sweep your feet out from under you. In a way you never ever expected.
Oh god, where'd my feet go? Why do you have a broom in your hand? Oh no!
You see, I know exactly what you're thinking.
Huh? What's he talking about?
You say the witness used a syringe to manipulate the level of the IV liquid. But there is no proof.
Can't you I'd imagine that he must have administered more IV from the top of the bag where there's no liquid. Can't you just take the bag and squeeze it and see if there's a hole? Even a syringe is even if it's even with a syringe, it still would puncture it, right? Or is that not how it works? I don't fucking know. Again, like I said, I've never played with syringes before. There's no proof he didn't do it either.
Yes, quite true.
Huh? He's admitting it.
Nor was this witness quite as decisive as I'd hope. This I admit. After all, why linger in the past when the future holds so much? You have something in mind, Prosecutor Gavin?
Proof, El Judge.
I have another way to prove my case. With evidence, no less. What's this? This is the victim Magnifi Grammarai's diary.
Diary?
After going into the hospital, Magnifi began writing his memoirs, it seems. The story of his birth, his startling debut, and of meeting his disciples. It seems he intended for the last chapter to end, quite appropriately, with his death.
Wait, that book doesn't say what the reason was, does it? The reason why his disciples couldn't refuse his last request?
Sadly, it does not. What's important here is on the last page. Apparently, the victim wrote in his journal that night, even after the IV had begun at 11 p.m. Let's read it, shall we?
Tonight's IV is in. Maybe the last? I leave the rest to them. The first should come soon. The journal may end here or may go on, but not long. That depends on his hands. I can't read the other sentence.
This does appear to have been written just before his death.
All that's left of mine is to lay down his pen, is what it says.
The court accepts this into evidence.
Meow, meow, meow.
Read the very last part with a particular care.
I did.
This journal may end here or it may go on, but not long. That depends on his hand. Of course, by his. He refers to our defendant, Zach Gramarai. That would make sense, I guess. He was the first scheduled visitor, after all. But look at what he said before that. This journal may end here or it may go on. It may go on. Magnifi Gramarai intended to write again. That is, if Zach Gramarai didn't pull the trigger. I see the defense understands the meaning of this. The victim's diary does not go on. It ends. Even though there's clearly a page missing from the fucking journal. There's clearly a fucking page missing from the goddamn journal. There's a ripped page. Why do you think it? Why makes you think he fucking ended it there? He ripped the goddamn page, you stupid dumb fuck. Because Magnifi's life was brought to an end by the defendant Zach Gramarai. Order! 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 Prosecutor Gavin! Are you certain that Magnifi Gramarai wrote this? There was no mistaking his handwriting. Well, this does seem to be significant. According to this, Magnifi did intend to continue his diary. Yet, if his diary ended here, which plainly it did, then the one who pulled the trigger was the first visitor, Zach Gramarai. Well, how do you like me now, Elright? Still too green for your taste? He's right about the diary being pretty clear. Still, I find it hard to believe that he'd overlook such an obvious problem with this precious evidence. Well, Mr. Wright, the witness's testimony we heard was lacking. But put together with this evidence, it seems quite sufficient for our case.
If the diary is accepted like this, the trial's over. Maybe it's time for me to show them something? Yeah, show them that evidence. That's clearly not suspicious. I'm left with no choice but to show my own evidence.
What? You have some evidence that overturns this diary?
It's not too late to rethink this and avoid more embarrassment. I'd say. I just realized that there's a way that you could have fucking proved this to be fucking questionable at the very least without showing this evidence, but whatever.
Very well. Please show us your evidence, Mr. Wright.
Incidentally, don't even think of showing us this diary I've just shown in court. Now that we've come this far, I hope you have something a little more decisive. You know what? Did people show us evidence that proves the victim continued writing his diary? I wonder if people would have thought the same thought that I did. Be like, present the fucking diary and show that there's a fucking ripped off page. But Clarier's like, nah, bitch, that's not the answer. I'm gonna say it right now. It's not the answer. I'm helping you out, fam. All right, I'd be happy to. The decisive evidence proving that the diary didn't end with this page is the notebook page. First, take a close look at the diary. Note that a page has been clearly ripped out.
What's this? I hadn't noticed that at all.
Because you're fucking blind. That's why we're still here talking about this. As it just so happens, I have here what I believe to be the missing page.
Alika, I don't believe it.
Was that? I always forget his voice. Looking at this page, it's hard to imagine that the first visitor that night shot Magnifique Grammari. That's the defense's position.
Wait, let me see that. What in Sam Hill? Why, this is the continuation of the victim's diary.
Note the torn edge on the page. It's a perfect match with the torn remains of the last page in Magnifique's diary. Quite remarkable. How did I do his voice? The minute when I go away from him for like 5 minutes, I already forget how to do his voice. Would you care to explain what this all means, Herr Attorney? The diary continued after his first visitor came, which means that the victim was still alive after Zach Grammari left, leaving no one to take his life but the second visitor. Valen Grammari! No! How did I do his voice? I've literally forgotten.
The handwriting too matches that on the other pages. This is without a doubt the genuine article.
Ew, my butt.
Order!
But wait! That's impossible! What? How did I do his voice? Oh my god! I am Valen Grammari. That old man couldn't have written that.
Objection!
Oh, I thought the game froze. Finally. You just couldn't resist, could you, L. Wright? Resist what? Presenting solid evidence? Oh, no. L. Judge.
Yes, Prosecutor Gavin?
Might I request we put the current cross-examination on hold? The prosecution would like to call a new witness.
But Prosecutor Gavin, this evidence overturns the current witnesses.
I only ask that you put it on hold. Please. My new witness has a very, very important piece of evidence to tell what? God damn it. My new witness has a very, very important piece of testimony to give. 5 minutes. No more. I promise, Your Honor.
Well, if you put it that way, if you promise, then, Mr. Wright, what's your take on this?
What if he said no? Well, Your Honor, judging from his enthusiasm, we'll have to hear his new testimony sooner or later anyway. So it might as well be sooner.
Then, though this is highly, highly irregular, we will put the current cross-examination on hold. The witness may step down. Now, Prosecutor Gavin, please bring the surprise witness to the courtroom.
I had a bad feeling just then. That ripped out page was too obvious. He must have known. And yet you presented it anyway, or at the very, or maybe more like I presented it anyway. And I should have known it was a bad sign all around. Oh look, there's an odd man on the stand.
Holding a trial with no audience is a first, even for me, Prosecutor Gavin. What, did you just kick everyone out?
I beg the court's understanding. Oh look, it's a Misham. But they had to make a judiciary deal with the witness to secure his testimony. A judiciary deal? The details of his testimony may have some legal ramifications, shall we say. I thought it best to contain the information to this room.
Very well. And you are the witness, I gather?
I don't have a voice for him.
Yes, sir.
State your name and occupation for the record.
My name's Drew Misham. I'm a painter.
I don't have a voice for him. Have I used this voice already?
A painter? And you are somehow related to this case?
No. Well,
not per se.
What? Oh god. I have one simple question for this witness. Mr. Misham, was it? Do you know what this is?
Oh, yeah. I know it well. I'm giving him an accent, apparently. Whatever.
How's that possible? Have you seen the diary page somewhere before?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I made it.
I gave him an accent despite the fact that Vera doesn't have an accent, but what the fuck ever, man. What? You made it?
Yes. You might call it one of my works.
The regional prosecutor's office received a tip-off yesterday. Illegal evidence has been prepared for the trial of Zach Ramurai.
Illegal evidence?
I initiated an investigation and found this witness. A painter to the world at large, Drew Misham has another side, you might say. He is skilled in making perfect reproductions of certain things. Forgeries, in other words.
Forgeries? Well, so we are to understand that this page here is
a fake, prepared by a certain defense attorney. Hold it! I didn't prepare this evidence! The attorney speaks. Something about this page, I presume. But what is he saying? It makes no sense. After all, it was you who presented this evidence to us, Phoenix Wright.
Witness! Mr. Misham, was it? Who requested this forgery? Who was your client?
That, I don't know. What?
Most of my clients prefer to remain anonymous, even to me. I make the items they want, and receive my payment. That's the extent of my contact with them.
But, there's no proof that this is fake! If I were Phoenix, I'd be like, yo, you can look at my bank records, you can see that I don't have money, and therefore I wouldn't be able to pay for anything, like a forgery. But there's no proof that this is fake. Did I read that already? I might have read that already.
It's a fake.
Huh?
To avoid just this sort of problem, I always put a special mark on my works. I can say, without a doubt, this is mine.
Why did you have to put a special mark on your work for cases like this? You never even come to court. This is your first time ever doing it, because you remain anonymous, don't you? Or whatever? Or you don't come out of whatever.
Mr. Wright, you have just presented legal evidence to this court. My court. I thought we were special.
Womp womp. It was careless of me. That's all I could say. Oh boy! What was her voice? Oh my god. Here! What's this? I don't know. I just got it over there in the hall. They told me to give it to the old boy in the blue suit with the spiky hair. They said it was really important. You were a weirdo. It was all a trap. A fatal trap.
Mr. Wright?
Yes?
Do you have an explanation for yourself?
If I did, would the court hear it?
Probably not. Forging evidence is a serious crime. And presenting it in court A serious mistake. A fatal mistake for an attorney. Fatal too, perhaps, for your client, I fear. Tell me, what kind of defendant relies on forged evidence? The answer is quite clear. A guilty one. Your Honor, wait! I understand that presenting forged evidence in court is a serious crime, but you can't hold my client responsible for actions I undertook as an individual. I'm sorry, Mr. Wright. Your Honor? Another close call, I dare say. If the prosecutor's office hadn't received that hot tip, everything would have gone the way you'd wanted it to, yeah. I even gave you a chance.
You know what? It doesn't make any fucking sense. Hold up. Nick only received this case yesterday. Right? Is what he said in the beginning? He only got this case yesterday, but somehow he managed to turn around a forged evidence like this. How would he have even been able to forge it? How would he have been able to know how the page is ripped and stuff? He had no time to, he didn't, never mind. Forget it.
Too bad you decided not to think before embarrassing yourself. I see no need for further discussions on this matter. Special witness dismissed. Get out of my courtroom. You cause nothing but trouble for me. Mr. Attorney. Yes? Could I ask your name? It's Phoenix Wright. Mr. Wright. I have seen and studied many people, but none like you. I'll remember you, Mr. Wright. What did he do? Is it because of the spiky hair? It's a spiky hair, isn't it? Oh! Though I deeply regret having to declare a verdict in this way. This trial is over. I can't believe you're just glossing over the fact that there's clearly a fucking ripped page in the goddamn diary and I'm not even gonna question the fact. Nick, you could have fought it! You could have fought it! But now you're stupid! You have the right to find a new attorney and make an appeal. However, this court must... Your Honor. Yes, Mr. Zack? Mr. Zack as opposed to Mr. Grammar, or Ignigmar. There is one thing I wish to make clear. Today, in this courtroom, you cannot declare me guilty. It is impossible. I'm afraid that the defendant is quite mistaken. I most certainly have the authority to declare a verdict on you. That is my job. Except, tell me, how do you plan on announcing your verdict? When your defendant does not exist. Doesn't exist? What are you talking about? I'm talking about this. Whoa, vanishing act. He's fucking gone, man. It's almost like he's a magician. Mr. Enigmar. The defendant's escaped. Find him, quick. Bailiff, close all exits of the building. On the double. He must not be allowed to escape. Zack, you really didn't do Phoenix a favor by running away from your verdict. Aren't you supposed to be innocent? Maybe he's not. That day, in that courtroom, a miracle occurred. The defendant, Shadi Enigmar, aka Zack Grammari, didn't just escape from the court. He literally, unbelievably, vanished. Right before the bailiff's eyes. No one ever saw him again. Not since that day. This is the Grammari miracle! Ha 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 ha! What a dick. No verdict was declared. After all, the defendant didn't exist. That's how it happened. The trial of magician Zack Grammari vanished, along with him for all eternity. The mysteries that remained behind were all solved, however. But not until 7 years later. Oh my god, crazy! I can't believe this is how Nick lost his bat, because a magician was being shady. Crazy. Oh my god, you're not letting me save? Fuck that. I'm saving it. Save the slot for... I mean, I guess this is where I'm gonna end because I don't feel like going anymore.
Weird. I usually end at the end screen. I mean the main menu, but the game's not letting me. So we're stopping here for the session. Pretty crazy, right? That trial, pretty wild. I had a lot to say about it. Apparently, I guess it never occurred to me when all those few times that I played it. It never occurred to me how stupid it was, honestly. But you know, shit happens. So I guess we'll see where it goes from there next time we pick this up. All right, that's it from me. Goodbye.